Hi, hello, my name is Avalonius. It has been taking me a number of months to finally make a video that I know that is what I really needed to do. And, a lot of people say, sometimes you wait for the right moment and the right moment never comes. And, that's very true. So, the reason why I am here today is because I am a therapist and I have certifications in home health care. I also do health and research. The reason why my therapy relaxation is going to be more different than anything you've experienced by being into a mental therapist is because the type of methods that are being taken place here at Avalonia's Improvement. I'm going to explain a little bit to you so you understand a little bit. All right, so here's your brain. This is the executive functions right in here. Right in here is where your memory is. So this is where we're going to be working on, is the frontal part. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about your brain before I move on to the reasoning for your mental health. The brain can be divided into several functional areas. That is, areas of the brain with one particular primary function as best as can be determined. These functions are divided into 8 categories: executive functions, motor functions, somatosensory, attention, visual functions, memory, emotional regulation, and sound. I will explain these functions more later, and for the sake of time, I will focus primarily on the executive functions: attention, memory, and emotional regulation. I will also recommend you try using Khan Academy app to research of your own. It's a free app, and you can learn how things work, as well as there's math up until, I think, first grade all the way up into college. You have different types of history, English, and such on. It's actually a very good app. We are going to start off with the executive function, which I was explaining to you is in the frontal part. Executive function is a collective term for various functions of your brain. Functions like attentional control, ability to pay attention to certain things and ignore others. Cognitive inhibition, ability to tune out certain stimuli not relevant to the task at hand. Inhibitory control, your ability to resist your habitual or impulsive behavior. Working memory, kind of like short-term memory. Cognitive flexibility, the ability to could switch between thinking about two different and thinking about two concepts simultaneously. The previously listed functions are considered basic executive functions, and 2 or more used in concert produce higher order of executive functions. Such as planning and fluid intelligence, reasoning, and problem solving. It has generally been the consensus that executive functions are local to the frontal lobe of the brain. However, more recent research supports something along the lines of the frontal lobe being essential to executive function, but with many other areas of the brain playing a role. A few things you will learn about psychology and neurology in general is that, number 1, although most brain functions have a primary area of the brain where they take place, are rarely, if ever, exclusive to that area. And number 2, you will almost never hear the terms always or never in psychology, as humans are simply too individual and different from person to person when it comes to cognitive and psychology, simply too immaterial a science to generate hard and fast laws of thought, as it were. Anyways, on to attention. Referred to in psychology as enthrallment, attention is an area of very active study and discussion in modern psychology. It can be most useful defined as selectively concentrating as a discrete aspect of information while ignoring other perceivable information. As attention is an inherently broad action of the brain, it cannot be said to have any currently known physical location in the brain, but rather it is a complex act undertaken by several parts of the brain depending on what aspect type of stimulus is being focused on or paid attention to. And last but most importantly, your memory. I could spend literal days trying to understand memory and still have only scratched the surface. So I will do my best to condense its explanation to a convenient size. Memory is, the broadest terms, the method through which information is encoded, that is absorbed, stored, and subsequently retrieved in the brain. The primary function of memory seems to take place in the limbic system, including the hippocampus and amygdala. A lot of you who do understand these things, please don't degrade me. Again, it's just to show people understandings of why I'm here and what I'm doing. So, with all this being said, a lot of this has to do with how we function, when it comes to mental health. A lot of things that come into mental health disorders are anxiety, attention deficit, bipolarity, borderline personality, depression, eating disorder, generalized anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, panic disorder, post-traumatic stress, schizophrenia, social phobia, as well as others. The reason why I am going to be different than anything that you have ever experienced in other counselors and therapists is because I take the knowledge that I know and I help the person out by getting rid of stress that you might have. You see, my methods are very different because I use different types of therapies to help a person overcome certain situations so that way we can eventually talk about their true issues to cure them rather than trying to make them numb. Different therapy methods that I have are music therapy, art therapy, relaxation therapy, which that includes various types of massages and listening to music and such. That has a lot to do with it too. We also have health food therapy. We have juice tonics, as well as soups and desserts and teas and spaghettis and all kinds of things that are all natural and organic, as well as vegan. The idea is to help you from being, you have to have your body completely taken care of through exercise and how we eat and the music that we listen to, our mindset that we are in, the environments that we become into, in order for us to mentally be okay, depending on what we are stressed out about or whatever the case is. Literally. You have an addiction or sleep apnea or childhood post-traumatic issues. You have some demonic possessions that are taking on with you or in your household. Eating disorders and such and such and such. My methods, I use the Bible as well to help a person. You might laugh and say, oh, that doesn't help. But I've helped out at least over 100 people in the past 4 years and traveled to their house, lived inside of their home to watch their every movement. And in fact, sometimes I even went to their same work to see the different patterns that they had. And I have a few people who I can actually testify for me that this idea of mine has helped several people. My work is free and I do not charge. I do take donations because we live in a world that isn't free. But I am free. I say this because I still have to I'm trying to have an office, a facility where I can have people come and have water therapy and just relax. Until then, though, I'm working from home, and so I'm still working on the process of that. And until then, I still do in-house visitations as well as online visitations through social media and video. So please do feel free to hit me up through Messenger. My Facebook name is Avalonius Elscavan. And again, you can probably message me on here. God bless you, and you guys have a great day.